What is going on, everybody? This is your boy Bill Mahari here with another episode of MehariNation Sports Podcast here. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to the greater boxing community, though, man. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff to talk about here today, this weekend, with some good fights coming up, and also some other things going around here that I'm also addressed to today. Um, the live stream that I did last night wasn't really good because I was actually tired and exhausted from work. So I just kind of like deleted it and replaced it with this one tonight. Now I'm feeling good today. I just came back out of the gym doing weights, looking to try to get big and get some muscle on me. Only weigh 154 pounds, so I'm looking to try to get big and try to maybe weigh in the 170 to 180-pound range. Try to get some muscle in my system so that way I can try to achieve a goal to try to get a six-pack. You feel me on that? That's right. Yep. So let's go ahead and check the chat here. Kevin Stenhouse, salute, man. How you doing? Duke, what's going on, man? My brother Mark Wonderland from Utah, man. Salute, man. Salute, salute. Thank y'all for smashing that like button, though, man. Real appreciate it, though, man. All right. Let's get cooking here, guys. So, apparently, when I woke up this morning, I was actually informed by somebody that there was a video series done by the LDBC hater where they were basically attacking 78 Sports TV, his all of his live streams and all the things that he said on his channel. Because a couple of days ago, his YouTube channel got monetized. YouTube took away his super chat app and basically stripped it from him for a month. Now, he said that he could reapply for it, but he's just going to try to rely on PayPal or the Venmo stuff there, though. So, because YouTube takes about 30% of your super chats anyway. So, go ahead and do what you got to do. But I actually want to address an important matter here that I actually has been on my mind, man. Let me just say this, though, too. These LDBC haters, they feed off the content that the LDBC is trying to push. You know why? Because they don't have a growth mindset to develop their own content. They don't use their social media platforms to reach out to these fighters and try to get interviews or try to, engage with them. You know what I'm saying? They're feeding off of the work that most of these LDBC affiliates put in every day. Guys like Cali Enigma, Black Fight Fan TV, 78, World Breaker, and so on and so forth, including Ticket TV as well. Ticket TV, man, the dude puts in the grind and he's living life, man. He's doing real good for himself. He don't even care what any of these haters think. So here's the point on this. You haters got to realize you're not breaking down the group. All you're doing is making the group stronger. Because what these haters want, they want destruction, they want dysfunction. And it's not going to happen. You know why? Because there's a unity, there's a brotherhood in the LDBC, in the main core, and there's a foundation of loyal people that want to support the brotherhood and the togetherness of the group. And that's why a lot of us, like myself, BFTB, Focus Ball, and a lot of little channels, though, man, are basically learning from the big top guys like Fanon, 78, Blood Boxing, who've been doing it for a long time, Ticket TV, a lot of them. You know why? Because they put in the work every day to improve their content, to improve their live streams, and they engage with the people and they show love and appreciation for them. That's why they come back and give them super chats, because they see the results of the hard work that they're putting in. You know what I mean? So my initiative for my channel is this. It's to try to go through that familiar path and do it my own way. You know why? Because I'm not trying to look for, trying to boss off different ideas. I have my own thoughts, but at the same time, I show support to where it belongs. And a lot of these haters, they don't like that. They hate growth. They hate development because they are stuck in this fixated mindset of doing the same thing or bouncing off different ideas because they can't have the bravery or the courage to do it themselves. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, though, I tell to myself and ask that question inside my head, why hate? If you hate what the LDBC does and what they represent, how about you use that as motivation to improve yourself? Because you don't, you're going to continue to have these troll people who are going to want to see you act yourself like a fool out there. You know what I mean? And think about, well, hey, I agree with you. You know, I think the LDBC is just a racist cult, man, which is the ultimate offense. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, come in with original ideas. You know what I mean? And if you disagree, go to them and talk about that disagreement with somebody. Don't try to go ahead and sneak this, because that's not cool and that's not respect, and that's very disrespectful to the core. I never go to any of the hater channels because they're not worth my time. They're not worth my energy. And if I see any hater, and I got several wrenches through several LDBC channels, if I see any hater on site, you're automatically getting blocked. I'm not putting up with that. You know what I'm saying? But that's all I need to say about that, because I'm not giving these haters any limelight or any shine. And I will not even mention their names because they're not worth my time. But on the flip side, though, I want to talk about some fights that's going to happen this week, though, man. Jacobs and Canelo. You know, I am riding with Danny Jacobs because I don't like Canelo. I don't like, what he stands for. But I'm not going to be in denial and say that he's a really good boxer. The big weakness of Canelo is he doesn't like athletic fighters with movement and agility. Look back into the Mayweather fight. Look back to the Ennis Lara fights. You know what I mean? He likes fighters that can stand toe-to-toe and landing against the ropes. And here's another thing that people don't realize, too. Canelo uses the shoulder roll. He slips his punches more. He fights more of this, not this somewhat Mexican style of standing toe-to-toe with your chin exposed and you go toe-to-toe with them. I mean, he'll do that, but he's actually finding more of the slick styleness to him a bit. You get what I'm saying? So here's the thing with Jacobs has got to realize. He's got to go in there very confident and try to go in there and hurt Canelo. You cannot rely on the scorecards. You can't rely on the referee. But does Jacobs have the mindset to go in there and try to really hurt the man and use his size and using his strength against the smaller Canelo Alvarez? Because keep this in mind, Canelo has not faced a legit middleweight other than Gennady Golovkin. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be interesting to see how Jacobs approaches this fight, because you can come in with a great game plan, but it's about, can you execute the game plan when it comes to fight night? Only a few fighters in history can do that. Guys like Sugar Ray Leonard, Floyd Mayweather, you know what I mean? Those are the guys that, can execute that game plan. So let's go ahead and check the chat real quick. Kevin Stenhouse says Lowry's struggling tonight. Really? I wouldn't be surprised one bit. Kyle Lowry's always been struggling in the playoffs, and I wouldn't be surprised nothing less. Mark Wendler says, I would rather have friends, not enemies. 100. Agreed. Definitely agreed. That's why I have a lot of good friends in the LDBC that want to help me succeed and give me good ideas of how to improve my channel a bit. With my jersey collection series, all the different, short clip videos of some of the thoughts I have. Eventually, this channel is going to get bigger and it's going to get better. But with time and patience, that's the big key in this matter. You know what I mean? So the rematch that I'm actually really interested in talking about too is the Tony Harrison and Jermell Charlo fight. You know what I mean? Because I said before that, in recent past around the LDBC did Tony Harrison take the title from Jermell Charlo? I am watching the fight a couple of times. I believe that Jermell Charlo got off to a slow start, and then when he decided to turn around late in the fight, it was too late, because Tony Harrison used the end of that jab to keep Jermell Charlo off bay. You feel me? So at the end of the day, though, man, I think that Jermell Charlo is going to adjust and actually going to go in there, not with the sense of knocking him out, but the sense to try to hurt him, but stay disciplined. I think he's going to rewatch it, the tape of how he performed against Tony Harrison, and he's going to set the record straight and then get to, Jarrett Hurd, which is going to be the big fight at 154 pounds. And honestly, though, I feel like Jarrett Hurd should be a middleweight or something. He's too big to be at 154. You know what I mean? And you can't fight in this hit twice to get one punch off type of approach. You're going to get hurt real bad, especially when you move up in weight. A lot of them guys, though, bro, at 160 can really put the pounding on you. You know what I mean? But I hope that fight happens though, because I really would want to see that fight happen in the future. And also on May 18th, we got the big heavyweight fight between Deontay Wilder and Dominic Brazil. I've been waiting for that fight for a long time. You know what I mean? Because I just want to see Dominic Brazil get knocked, got his head taken off. I don't even like Dominic Brazil, honestly. All that shady stuff he does behind the scenes against on Wilder, not cool, man. I hope he gets get his head taken off for real, for real. Let's check the chat. Mr. Oh shit, salute, man. E Foul Play, what's going on, bro? Welcome aboard to the channel, though, homie. Welcome aboard. Yeah, man. Hey, we got 5 people in here. We got 4 likes so far. So let's try to get them likes up, though, man. Let's get the likes up. So, we got the that fight though too. I hope that Deontay Wilder can get this guy out of here, because I don't trust Dominic Brazil to fight clean. He's gonna try to do some tactical stuff, try to do some shady stuff, and honestly though, man, he might try to get a disqualification win out of it to try to take the title away from Deontay Wilder. You know what I mean? Kind of like how you know Roy Jones Montel Griffin first fight. Getting hit, while being kneed down and getting that disqualification. I hope that doesn't happen. I really hope that doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? He just needs to go in there, stay disciplined, use that jab to keep Dominic Brazil off bay, and then set him up for that right hand. You know what I'm saying? I hope that happens, though. I really hope so. Because I don't trust Dominic Brazil to fight clean, like I said. He's going to try to do some shady stuff to try to get himself a disqualification victory, or try to plead the referee. Oh, I got hit in the back of the head. Oh my God, he hit me in the back of the head. That kind of thing. Sickening, though, man. Sickening. Now, I was thinking about this too, because while the fight is going to happen on the 18th, Joshua and Andy Ruiz, who they decided now as the replacement for Gerald Big Baby Miller, is going to happen on June 1st. Now the question is going to be: should AJ attend that fight to try to draw up to the anticipation for the undisputed unification fight? I would hope he does. I really would love for Anthony Joshua to show some courage for a change and show up to that fight. You know what I'm saying? Because look, man, we've been waiting for this fight for what, 1 to 2 years. This is a fight that needs to be made. And I'm getting sick and tired of the politics that have been going on between these two men. Joshua, offering Wilder $15 million for a flat fee that Wilder was willing to take, while they're offering $50 million and Anthony Joshua wouldn't take it. You know what I mean? I'm getting sick and tired of this, though, bro. This is a fight that should have been made a long time ago. And I hope it doesn't happen when it's too late. You know what I mean? But I don't trust what Matchroom is going to do about it. They're going to try to play some shady politics in a way to try to prevent this fight from happening. You feel me? I just don't trust what they're going to do. That's how I feel about that, though, man. I want this. I just want the Joshua and Wilder fight so bad. But I do understand the politics that's going to get in the way of that. And also, I will say this too: Luis Ortiz, that he's going to regret not taking the $5 million contract to try to face against Anthony Joshua. That was the big moment for him to take those titles away from Anthony Joshua, because many of us, including myself, believe that Luis Ortiz can beat Anthony Joshua. He's got the skill, amateur pedigree, and the power to go after, to probably not possibly give Anthony Joshua his toughest fight and probably beat him. You know what I mean? But his promoter and his team screwed the pooch. They did not accept the $5 million deal. They got greedy in the negotiations, and you know what I mean? And then afterwards, it didn't happen. The fight didn't happen. And they're going to regret that for a long time. And what's the worst part is? The worst part is that they couldn't go to Kalaniva and just tell the truth. They went to, the boxing voice and basically spilled the beans about what happened. That's just shady and low to me. If I ever wanted to interview any fighters in the future, I'm not taking their word and believing anything they say, because the politics of boxing is very shady. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of stuff that's being talked behind the scenes. Now, I'm not into that behind the scenes stuff. I'm going to say it straight off the bat. But what I'm saying is this: don't trust what a fighter, what a manager, or what a promoter says, ever. That's why a lot of these trolls take a lot of their words and take it as gospel. And I'm not doing that. And many of us are not going to fall for that. You know what I mean? Not smart to do. Because I'll be honest, I'm a journalism major. And the job is to quote what the person says and take it as verbatim to what is fact. But a lot of times in sports, you can't take it as fact because there's going to be some certain things, they're going to try to go ahead and twist your words up and try to manipulate the narrative to support their argument. That's what a lot of these, old media cats try to do, and I will not do that. I certainly will not do that. But I will say this though: I'm not going to fall for believing or supporting one particular group other than Deontay Wilder, because with Wilder, he comes in there and talks to 78 Sports CB regularly, talking about he wants to fight really bad and talk about what the stuff that he's going through at the moment. You know what I mean? It's just that's just how it is when it comes to boxing. So let me get out the way of this boxing stuff though, bro, because that's a lot of this fight that's going on. Oh, and by the way, also for a lot of people that don't know too, just a little heads up if you guys don't know, the WBA made the decision on Gerald Miller. They're going to suspend him for 6 months. Only 6 months. So essentially, he got a slap on the wrist. Like, really? 6 months? The dude was caught using 3 different PED, 3 different drugs in this system. And the third one was for human growth hormone, HGH. Really? That's boxing for you. That's boxing for you. The dude should have been suspended at least a year. Lifetime ban, maybe a bit excessive, but I wouldn't blame it. They wouldn't decide to go lifetime ban. But 1 year suspension would be good enough to put the foot on their necks to send the message: you will not do any, type of drugs or anything like that. But my issue is this: if you're going to give Gerald Miller that kind of suspension, why is Alexander Povetkin still fighting? Why does he even allow a license to box? Why? I know why. Because the fact is, since Gerald Miller is an African American, he doesn't get that kind of luxury. While Alexander Povetkin is white. That's just how it is. That's exactly how it is. And let's keep this in mind. Povetkin was supposed to fight Wilder, but it never materialized because he failed one drug test with meldonium. And then he failed a second drug test because he was supposed to fight a WBC mandatory with Bermain Stavern, and he failed the drug test. And he still has a great license to box and still fought against Anthony Joshua until he got his head taken off. Makes no sense. It absolutely makes no sense. Black Hair TV, salute, man. Thank you for coming to the channel, homie. Appreciate the love and support. That's the politics of boxing for you guys. That's what it is. And it's a damn shame that many of these fans don't preach for fairness in boxing, because that's what I want to see. I want fairness in all sports, including boxing and MMA. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. It absolutely is ridiculous how many of these, fan lovers and these protectors of these certain fighters, get these kind of privileges. But a lot of the fighters that we support, who are mostly African American, don't get that kind of luxury. Racism, man. Racism. That's just how it is. And the fact of the matter is, all you're doing is just basically giving more attention to these fighters than you want, because you're saying that, oh, we're gonna hate on these guys because we don't like their style. Okay, well, go in there and try to beat them. That's all I can say for that. you know, and that in of itself, though, man, is exposing your own bias. You know, now let me tell you the most shady thing about this whole boxing thing. How about the fact that Canelo can get a rehydration clause, judges in his favor, and can decide the outcome of fights sometimes based on the referee's discretion. Do you think that's fair? Let me think about this for a moment. Has Canelo ever fought without a rehydration clause against a bigger guy? Ask yourself that question. Has he ever done that? Most of you guys that know me know the answer, but I'm speaking for the casuals. Has he ever fought against a guy without a hydration clause against a bigger guy? You think about that. You know, I'm not going to give you the answer because I think you know the answer. You just don't want to say it. That's all. That's all. But honestly, though, man, I hope that Jacobs, beats him. But I don't think he has the temperament to go in there and try to get and take Canelo's head off. That's how I see it. So enough of this LDBC hate, and boxing talk a bit. Now I'm going to try to switch up the conversation, talk about some play out basketball because that's all y'all like to hear me talk about basketball. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I study basketball with a T. I study skill set, not just statistics, matchups, and the scenario of the matchups. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times stats doesn't always tell the story about how the games turn out. You could have an advantage on the rebounding edge, but did you make the most amount of your shots when you got those rebounds? Or did you control the pace of the game with a full court press or try to speed up the tempo or try to methodically use a slow tempo of the game? Those are the things I look at when it comes to basketball and studying great teams. Because I can always make the case that, the 86 Celtics could beat the 96 Bulls because they have a better front line than what the Bulls did. Sure. But you can't play those games. There's no use to it because you'll get into debate of, the analytics of it, who the matchups and how players would match up and all that kind of thing. Kobe said it best that, listen, I want to see how we can fare against our great teams and play it up and see how it go. But you can't. You can only debate, here and now. You know what I mean? For what it is. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'll just say this, though. Let me check the score between the Raptors and the Sixers because they're playing right now. So let me go ahead and check that out. So let me go ahead and check it out real quick. Well. Look what we got here. The 76ers are leading the Raptors by 9 points. Actually, 11 points, I should say. 64-53 at halftime. So look at the stat sheet so far by the Raptors. Hey, Kevin Stenhouse, you're right, bro. Lowry's got 5 points. Kawhi's got 17, and Siakam has 14. So you know what? I think we pretty much established the argument that Kyle Lowry is the third wheel of the team. He just never has gotten it together in the postseason, sadly. And that's in of itself is going to be the reason why the Raptors will never, ever win a championship with Kyle Lowry as their point guard. That's right. I said it. And I know most of you guys won't disagree with me. You feel me? That's just how it is. He just never has been consistent and never be trusted during postseason time. That's why the Cavaliers had an easier time with them last year. Kyle Lowry has never figured out a way to show up in big games. He's had some good games, not saying that he's been whacked entirely, but when it comes to the bigness of the moment, he's never shown through. He's always either been missing shots or just doing, reckless mistakes or just not being aggressive enough. And you can't do that during playoff time. Absolutely, you can't do that. Let me check out the 76ers stats here as well at halftime. Joel Embiid's got 18 points and 7 rebounds in 16 minutes. Ben Simmons, 8 points and 3 assists and 5 rebounds. Okay. And Jimmy Butler's got 11. See, I knew what was going to happen when the series got a tied game apiece. This is the first time that the Raptors are going to face adversity if the score continues the way it is. Man, the Raptors need to get it together. They're going to need to try to get this game together. You know what I'm saying? They cannot let the 76ers get any confidence, because when you give a young team confidence, you know what I mean? It's basically contagious for a young team. Oh shit says, yeah, I seen one of your buzzer beater game winning shots on YouTube. Nice shot, fam. Thanks. I appreciate it. You know, that was actually an overtime game winning shot. Now, I'm going to explain to you that game winning shot since oh shit brought that up. That game, we were down by 6 points with 2 minutes to go. I had to score the last 6 points. So I had a 2 to cut it to 4, and then they scored again. So then the last time out, my coach said we need buckets. So the last play, the next play, we ran a stagger screen off the sideline, and I went catch and shoot, made a 3-pointer to cut the lead to 3. Then on the next possession, they tried to push the ball to the court, got the steal, and then pulled up, hit the 3 to set the game into overtime. Now, the last play, the one that oh shit referenced to, it was off the tip. So I went with the intention of getting to the basket, hoping to get fouled or make the shot. So I did a left to right crossover and did a one-handed floater in between the free throw line and then the paint, and it bounced in. Oh, yeah. That was a really good game-winning shot. But here's a better game-winning shot for you. It was actually in the next tournament that year in in 2014. We were at a tournament out in Hastings, Minnesota, and we were basically we're down by 10 points with about 5 minutes to go. And what happened was our big guy scored the last 6 points. I led my team in scoring with 23 points. But the game-winning shot happened when we were supposed to run a pick-and-roll set with my big guy to try to hit him cut to the basket. But unfortunately, they read the play and double team on me. So I had to literally dribble the ball out of the double team, dribble to my left, and go to my sweet spot corner, which is like the left elbow area for the 3-point shot. And I faded back with 2 defenders on me and just threw it up, and the ball went in the middle of the backcourt and banked in off the glass. And I kid you not, the whole court, the whole gym just went nuts. They didn't expect me to hit that shot, because with the way it looked, it felt like it was going to be an air ball, but boom, it went into the net. And man, oh man, when the final buzzer hit, my team crashed into me and basically grounded me and just basically celebrated. You know how in the game winning shots, the people are always going to crash into you and say, "Yeah, let's go, yeah." Man, I tell you, it was just fun, man. It was a great shot. And there was another player that basically plays in Minneapolis for another Special Olympics affiliated team. He looked at me straight in the eye and said, "Bruh, I knew you were going to take the last shot. You wanted that last shot more than anything." You know what I mean? It was just so much fun. I'll tell you what, though. Playing Special Olympics is so much fun, though, man. You know, you create different relationships. You develop your skill set, but you also develop leadership skills and learn, the personalities of your team and try to manage those type of personalities. You know what I'm saying? That's really the fun part of it. But the most challenging part is patience, because you have to have the certain amount of patience to deal with the tolerance and the skill level and the mindset of a lot of these players. Some of them can learn things on the fly, while the others, it takes them a long time to slowly process the role that they're trying to figure out on a basketball court. So my patience was already tested, in the early years when I was 18. Now, keep in mind, I was in the ages between 18 through 20. I had about maybe 6 to 8 technical fouls together, because I wasn't cussing out the referees. I was trying to cuss out on my players for trying to get into their system. And sometimes the referee would misjudge it, and I'm sitting there like, I wasn't talking to you. But then I learned along the lines that my coaches said, "Listen, Abil, you're our best player of the team, but the team looks up to you for leadership." So when I went into my mid-20s, I started to change my approach, my way of talking, and try to, relate to them in every way possible to really understand how to, get the best out of my teammates. And I'll tell you what, this is going to be my 9th season, and I can't believe that I made it all 9 years of it. Just unbelievable. So let's go ahead and check out the chat. Michael Johnson, boxing, talking more. Where are them haters at? I don't know. Probably just talking about the LDBC hating again. Because that's all they do. They hate because they don't have any original ideas, while a lot of us do. 88 Sports Talk says Toronto better win. I hope so, but it's going to be another long lost season of the Raptors don't. King Louis 2 says salute, man. Appreciate it though, bro. Black Cam TV says Sixers in 6. I don't know. I still got the Raptors in 7 games, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, especially if they lose the next 2 games in Philadelphia. It better not happen though, but it is possible. William School Arnett, what's going on, brother? Welcome aboard, though, man. Thanks for coming. Mike Johnson, so I can say, what up? You say, King Louis, what up? All right. Hey, thanks, guys. Thank y'all for coming in. You know what I mean? I'm going to try to get some live streams in at 8 p.m., probably after when 78 is done doing his live stream, though, too. I've realized that doing the live streams every weekend is gonna be a bit more of a challenge. So I'm going to try to push him for more live streams, try to more, diversity, in the chats, try to talk different things. So too, try to keep the engagement going, because more engagement with different subjects, the better. But I have to be careful about the words I say, because you know how YouTube is. They'll suspect and look at what you're talking about. You know what I mean? So I got to keep my guard up. You know what I'm saying? So Louis says, salute Abil got game. Hey, I try to do my best. E-File player says, yo, Bill, have you watched Felipe Lopez 30 for 30? No, I have not yet. You know what? Actually, Felipe Lopez did play for the Timberwolves one time and was basically labeled as the Puerto Rican version of Michael Jordan or something like that. But the man didn't do anything for us when he was there. You know what I'm saying? And actually, Chauncey Billups took his starting role from him last time I checked. Blackhand TV says, is Embiid and Simmons and Butler chicken on the rap? If Embiid, Simmons, and Butler all chicken the Raptors ain't got enough. Ooh, all right. O'Shea says, who did my Lakers need to turn things around? Well, they're gonna need some changes in the front office. They're gonna try to recruit free agents, but the problem is none of the star players want to team up with LeBron James, because you know what LeBron James brings. All the media attention, all the trolling stuff that comes with it. All the mainstream media people like the Nick Rome, the Shannon Sharps of the world that always going to go at them, kisses behind at every turn. You know what I'm saying? So now E-File fans, what you think of Yuri Achimura? I think he'll do very well when he gets to the pro level. I think that he's got some skill. At the offensive end, I'm actually going to be interested to see how he develops, into the NBA level. But I've been noticing that his defense, though he's good as a help defender, his individual defense can get better though too. But I think he's got some good potential to be a good, top 10 pick. You know what I mean? Is he worthy of a top 5 pick? I think the other guy from Gonzaga may be worthy of the top pick. With him, you can make a borderline case for that. But I think he could if he shows that and shows what he can really do. Because I know in college that you're basically playing in a structured offensive system, and sometimes you can't show more of your skills out there other than what Zion Williamson does what he does. You know what I'm saying? So I think in this year's draft is going to be a very interesting draft. Obviously Zion Williamson is going to be number 1, John Morant's number 2, but the rest of the picks are basically wide open. Anything can happen. I'm hoping my Chicago Bulls get the number 1 overall pick so we can get Zion Williamson, man. If we get Zion Williamson, man, woo, we're going to stomp on everybody, though, bro. Real talk. And then we're going to go confront the Milwaukee Bucks, and I'm going to rub in the 78 Sports TV's face, because then we're going to have the dream matchup of Zion Williamson versus Giannis Antetokounmpo. Woo! That's going to be a dream matchup that everybody's going to be talking about, man. Those two guys together in their physical peak, man, oh, man. I cannot wait, man. Boy, I'm excited for that. So let me get back to my Special Olympic experience. In 2015, the year when we went to World Games representing the United States of America, I was actually considering quitting because, I played there for so long, but I wanted to achieve other things though. So when my coach got the call that said that our team's going to Los Angeles, I was like, wow, I can't believe this is happening. He foul players that you've seen Shamari Moons, play this year. Oh no, I have not yet though. But I'll go ahead and check some highlights of him, after this live stream is over. So thanks for mentioning that for me. I really appreciate that. I will check out Shamori Pond's play. You know what I'm saying? I think let me check on him real quick though, since you mentioned that now. Let me check it out. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Him. Oh yeah, that's right. I totally forgot about him though. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and check out that video though when his live stream is later, so I can get a little bit of a better assessment of how he is. Because I know he's a very good, efficient scorer. He's can put up big time numbers though, but can he translate those strengths in the pro game? But I want to study him a little bit though to get you a better assessment of it. Because if I try to give it to you now, I'm not probably giving you not a good answer at the moment. But EFOut player, I'll study him first, and then I'll come back tomorrow and give you a better answer to that. You know what I mean? I don't want to deceive you. You know what I mean? But I will say this though too. I think that this year's draft class is, with obviously with Morant and Zion Williamson going to be the top two picks. You know, that's going to be a very you know, interesting round table of draft picks. Moonshine Blaze says, "Who is the greatest player of all time in basketball?" Michael Jordan for me. Michael Jordan is always going to be the greatest player of all time. You know, he could defend, he can score, has very intelligent smarts, and that fadeaway jumper, rarely blocked. Rarely blocked. You have to be an excellent defender with height and athleticism to try to block that shot. You know what I mean? He said, "I'm with you 100%." Exactly. Michael Jordan, greatest player of all time. You know what, Moonshine Blade? Here's another big point, too. He talked about how he would defend against LeBron James. He said he would force him left because he's rarely ever seen LeBron James finish with his left hand. Not like finishing left hand on a fast break for a dunk, but actually going to his left because he's mostly, think about this for a moment. Most of LeBron James' scores are basically on the right side of the court, not on the left side. Because I know that when Michael Jordan used to post, he would post on either the left side or the right block. But when the double team would come, he would turn on the opposite side of the double team and then either score or go baseline for a dunk. That's why you always, when you're defending against Michael Jordan in a team defensive set, your duty is to never give him baseline, or less if you bring the help very quickly and time the help perfectly. You know what I mean? Pat Riley and his Knicks back then, did it very well. Because when they gave Michael Jordan baseline, Patrick Ewing would come in on the weak side to step in and block that lane. And if he tries to go over Patrick Ewing, he's going to have to confront him at the rim. And, Michael Jordan got him at the rim a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? Moonshine Blaze said Jordan is kind of the prime Roy Jones of basketball. Agreed. I do agree. But I will say, too, that Michael Jordan, when the athleticism was fading away, he still had the basic fundamental skills to come back with that. Because when he came back out of the first retirement, Michael Jordan worked on his fadeaway, he worked on his shooting, and worked on his basic craft, footwork, and defense. You know what I mean? Because he didn't have to, use that athleticism as much anymore. He could just take you down to the post, use a fadeaway jumper from the post and from anywhere around the court. You know what I mean? Michael Jordan was much more than just, with all that flashiness and dunks. He was much more fundamentally sound in the second 3P team with Pippen and Rodman and all those guys. Now, oh shit says, who's your all-time starting five? Woo! Great question. Very great question. If you ask me by position, I go Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and then my power four is going to be Tim Duncan and Akeem Olajuwon. Now, And my all-time, now, if you ask me, my all-time favorite shooting guards of all time, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Ray Allen, Tracy McGrady, and Dwayne Wade. Those are my all-time 5 greatest starting shooting guards. You get what I'm saying? Moonlight's like, okay, I read that too. Okay. So I'm watching, these playoffs though. You know what the sad part is about these playoffs? There's no defenses playing. You know what I mean? There's really any zone defense because the NBA implemented the defensive 3 seconds, the illegal defenses to try to open up the court for more scoring. And I feel that rule in of itself took away team defense because in SO in high school and college, you can do 2-3 zone, you can do the 1-3-1, the boxing one, and then do the 1-2-2 full court press. But in the NBA, you can't do that because because the NBA took away the ability of using the zone defense. You can't even double team a guy off of a certain area. You can only double team a guy on the ball. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely ridiculous, though, bro. I wish I could just erase those rules and allow them to play basic set defense and allow some hand checking. Not the hard hand checks, but basically putting the hand up to try to maneuver the ball handler. When they took away the hand checking, after the 93-94 season, it changed everything. Now let's check out the chat. Is LeBron even better than Larry Bird? Okay. I'm going to give you my own unbiased, comparison between the two players. If you're talking about athleticism, LeBron James has Larry Bird beat in that category. Both of these guys, 2 Hall of Fame players, excellent IQs, but Larry Bird was a tad smarter than LeBron James. You know what I mean? He's a bit tad smarter because he knows the timing. He knows how. He basically admitted himself in the HBO documentary about Bird and Magic that he views the game as a chessboard. He knows how to make the right move and how to execute the move before it actually happens. LeBron James is the same thing, but Larry Bird does it better. And also, Larry Bird was a better shooter, a bit of a better efficient scorer than I can say what LeBron is, because LeBron can go right at you. He can go post you up and get to the free throw line, that kind of thing. So that's my answer today. E-File player this. Yo, Bill, tell us more about your Special Olympic experience. Absolutely. Most certainly will do that for you. I started playing Special Olympics basketball after high school, around 2011. Now, I was not sold into that because I believe in this. I kind of had the fixated mindset of the stigma about SO. Oh, only slow players, only people who are just slow or unintelligent only play here. But after my first year there and facing against other guys who were going through the same circumstances but also had athleticism to combine with skill, boy, did that change my perspective after that. Because then that year, when I faced against a Minneapolis team that used full court pressure, that tried to hound you every single time you bring the ball up the court, immediately went to the weight room, immediately worked on my speed and footwork and my dribbling skills to get ready for that kind of pounding. You know what I mean? And it's very, very difficult. So I had anger issues. I had, impatient issues because I wanted everything to be done at the exact game speed. But I had to learn over time that most players have different skill set and different levels of learning. So I had to be more of a mentor, of a teacher kind of approach. And because of that, it made me more smarter as a basketball player, and it made me appreciate the game even more. You know what I mean? And I was going to get into my USA thing, but now I can get into it now. When I was, got selected to play for the USA team, I kid you not, it was the most shocking thing I ever heard, because now I was going to go into an international stage where a lot of the same athletes from different areas of the globe that go through the same circumstances as me. And what it taught me was that we're all one big united family that believes in the same purpose and the same ideology. You know what I mean? It's to compete and to win, but show true sportsmanship along the way. And when I was training in Indianapolis, met through a lot of different athletes. I met Paul George when he was in Indiana at the time. And when ESPN came in to interview me, they made the decision that they wanted to cover me in my life. Now, if you guys can Google and research my name, Bill Mehari, basketball, you'll find ESPN videos on myself. Off the first moment, you'll see it on the Google search. But it made me understand how my life story impacts a lot of people. Now, I understand at this point in my life that I belong myself as a more of a guiding mentor and more of a philosophist in not just in basketball, but in life, that you can make a difference in people's lives. You know what I mean? You can make a difference beyond your sport. And so when I got to Los Angeles, though, man, it was the most exhilarating time of my life because, truth be told, I was still in disbelief that this is happening to me. But then when I was walking through the opening stage when we were at LA Coliseum out in Southern California, you know what I mean? And standing in front of the USA contingent with about 45 to 50,000 people watching. I mean, it took me and blew me away. And standing next to Damian Lillard helps. Standing next to Michael Phelps. And also, surprise, surprise, Stephanie McMahon was also there too, and was a big supporter of the Special Olympics. And a side note, I gave her a kiss. She gave me a kiss on the cheek. You know what I'm saying? But it was just a great experience. Although we did finish second place with the silver medal, but it taught me that my life and my journey impacts many people, and has made me understand of who I am. You know what I mean? Black Ham TV's laughing about that little side note about Stephanie McMahon. Honestly, though, man, you know what? Let me tell you this. I'm gonna say it too. When I was first looking at her straight in my eye, I was thinking, "Wait a minute, do I recognize her? Wait, I think I've seen that face before." And it took me about 10 seconds to figure out who that was. And so when she said McMahon, I said, "Oh, Stephanie McMahon. That's right." Stephanie McMahon. And she was actually pretty nice though to me that day and gave me a kiss on the cheek. I was like, whoa, didn't see that coming. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was actually really fun. Meeting, and I got to meet a lot of different athletes from South America through Europe and through Africa too. The African detention people were so much fun because I knew I had my Eritrean heritage, which basically allowed me to be more accessible to me. And I really appreciated that, being as an Eritrean American and being that, I've been through a lot of the cultural barriers and things of that sort. I was able to relate to some of the stories they went through in their home native countries as well, from Nigeria, Sierra Leone, those kind of things. And it made me a better person, and it made me self-conscious about who I am now. And now I look back at those experiences and thinking I was blessed with this opportunity, being blessed to be representing my country of the United States of America. You know what I mean? And what it ties to about what the LDBC stands for is it's a unity and a brotherhood. And I believe in that. You know what I'm saying? I believe in unity and the brotherhood of the LDBC. And that's what kind of convinced me, hey, I should do a channel too myself. Because, I love to talk about sports and love to talk about some social issues when it's the appropriate time. And you can't be afraid, to bump a few heads to try to get your word out and try to get your point out, because that shows, commitment, courage, but also it shows bravery to put your foot on your stance. And I believe in now I believe in also, in helping people, showing them, mentoring them to try to reach to their potential and try to bring their confidence up instead of bringing them down, because you got to have a growth mindset, doing different things and trying to engage in different conversations to try to get your word out. You try to get out there, and try to, do different things. That's why you see me doing the Jersey Collection series, because I want to show you more that I'm more just a basketball guy. I know the sport and I know a lot about these athletes, and I met through some of them. In fact, when I was actually in New York City during the 2015 All-Star Weekend, playing at that unified basketball game in Madison Square Garden, which was sponsored by the NBA and Special Olympics too, when you see the picture of me making that layup with Detlef Schrempf in the background there too, I was sitting next to the MVP Steph Curry, and he was probably the nicest person I ever met. But the most humbling person that met during that whole trip was DeMarcus Cousins, now of the Golden State Warriors. And I talked with him per se about controlling your emotions and not letting your emotions get the better of you. you know, and I tried to, give him a little advice, say, hey, when things are not going your way, just hold yourself back and, take a deep breath and just basically understand what you got to do to go in there and dominate and not let the referees or let the opposition get your head. But it's kind of hard in this era of the NBA because there's so many trash talkers, but I try to give him that kind of game. And I'm hoping that down the line, a lot of people can just use their unique talents and they're using their growth mindset to try to help people around them, to try to prosper off the skills that you're trying to give them and try to teach them game. So when I listen to a lot of the LDBC content, I listen to them and take the time to understand what they wanted to bring out. So that way I can develop and produce my own ideas. So that way I can be myself and take credit for my own ideas. But I will always give a huge inspiration to a lot of these guys that, helped us and helped me along the way. You get what I'm saying? I hope you guys know what I'm trying to achieve there. I know I was going off base a little bit though, but I'm just trying to tie together my SO experience and combining what the LDBC provides though too, because the one thing what SO teaches you is the relationships and bonding and family. And I've been blessed to have, my team to be there with me all these 9 years. I know one that's been there for 70 years of it. And it's been a great ride. In fact, also another thing, I'm fifth in scoring. I also lead SO Minnesota in 3-point attempts, makes percentage and free throw attempt. You know what I mean? And so I'm so blessed to be in that position though. But this is gonna be my final year, and when the last game is done, I'm gonna take off my jersey and wash it and frame it and call it a career, because I feel at this point, that I am done. When you think about retiring at this point, your mindset is get through it unscathed, unhurt, but leave with your legacy intact. And I won numerous medals in full court, unified, to leave knowing that I put everything out there on the court and left nothing for granted, and built a lot of relationships and got a lot of respect from different people from both here in my neighborhood in the USA and in my Eritrean country. That's how I see it. So let me go ahead and check the chat real quick. Kevin Sinhouse says, I forgot Gasol was even on the Raptors. He's a non-factor. Well, I know he's been on the Raptors, though, bro. But, when Gasol's got to do more, though, bro. He got to do something, because he can't just stand around and just worry about, getting rebounds and getting shots in the paint. He's got to look to score. He got to look to be respected. Foul players respects what I said. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. In fact, let me do something real quick. Here you go. There's your wrench there, Black Ham TV. There you go, homie. And there you go. So let me give foul player a wrench there as well. There you go, man. Foul player, you got a wrench now, brother. And let's give Mr. Oh shit, you also got a wrench too, brother. You got a wrench now, my man. There you go. Yeah, exactly. So that's just most of my basketball life. I play this game for not just for fun, but because I love the game so much. And I always use the game to try to improve myself in my personal life. Now, I still, trying to figure out things, to try to do. I want to achieve more outside of basketball. I hope to use this channel to try to, try to show other people that, hey, I can make my own videos. I can talk about different things, but keeping the line, walking that line, so that way nobody, gets offended though. But if you have to ruffle feathers to get your point across, that's just how it is, Yep, Black Hand TV, no problem, man. No problem. Yep. Hey, foul player, you're always welcome to come aboard and discuss anything in boxing or in basketball, though, bro. But when I give you guys wrenches, though, the responsibility of these wrenches is to make sure that the trolls and the haters, get put out. Now, if somebody has a different perspective and a different opinion, they're allowed to, answer it, but answer it respectfully. If there's anything in between the lines, make sure to use your discretion and use common sense. Make sure you read the comments though first, and if they say anything offensive, get them out of here. No timeouts. Block them. I have zero tolerance for trolls and for any haters. Zero tolerance. You know what I mean? So let me go ahead and give me a drink real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I'm back. Mr. Oshit says, you definitely have a voice. I can hear you calling basketball games on TV or something like that, or even boxing matches. You have a huge voice. Your channel is going to be huge. Thanks, man. I hope so too. I do believe I have a voice though, bro. But what World Breaker has taught me too is you got to be able to find that voice. And it's gonna take time. It's gonna take commitment. It's gonna take time. But eventually I know that I do have that voice. It's just going to take a lot of work and a lot of work ethic and also a lot of support to get the channel pushed across, And let me check the subscriber account though, too. 200. Okay. 222 subscribers. It is a good start. You know, it's going to take a lot of patience, a lot of work ethic though, too, but I always support people that have the best interest, not just for me, but for others too, And let me ask you this question though, too. Do y'all want me to do broadcast the NBA finals on my live stream though, too? Because I'll be willing to do that if you want me to. I have no problem with that. Because honestly, I actually sometimes commentate myself even off camera too. And and sometimes it can be a bit annoying. You know what I mean? E5 player says, if you were a GM, would you trade the number one overall pick for Anthony Davis? No, I wouldn't. I would not trade him for the number one overall pick unless if you're getting another star player value for that. I wouldn't do it. If you're gonna trade Anthony Davis, I want a star player for equal value to get back too. But if I'm gonna get a number one overall pick, at least it's gonna give me some young assets to build around the number one overall pick. I'd say no. I wouldn't trade him for it, but I could see the logic is if you're going to trade the number one, if you're going to lose Anthony Davis, let's try to get something in replace of him down the line. And I get that. He said, call them NBA Finals live, my brother. Yeah. Okay. I see. All right. I'll think about it. We'll most certainly think about it. Now, I will ask a lot of the people in the live stream though too. Give me some honest assessments though, and what do you want me to do, and how I can improve the channel though too. Because the one thing I want to achieve is growth and development, and try to push this out there to make sure that that I'm doing my best to fulfill what the subscribers are looking for. I don't want to just be not just basketball all the time. We could talk about baseball, we could talk about boxing, and I know a lot of you guys don't like football because of the stuff that's going around with the NFL though too, and how they did Colin Kaepernick dirty though too. I hope the owners get their feet to the fire during the lockout, and I hope it's an in-season lockout because they deserve it for what they've done. But we could talk about tennis, boxing history, with the Curtis Anderson, Stormy Beeman. I can always bring them in. We could talk about boxing history too, and I always have been looking to try to use different group set my ideas instead of fixating on one particular thing. Because if you stay fixated on one particular idea or one single ideology, you're not going to see growth. That's why hater channels, they may have a lot of subscribers, but are they producing their own content, their own ideas, their own, different creative things? I don't see that. I never have seen that. E-File player says, I still watch football. I can't stop. I understand. I'll admit, I still do. I still watch my Minnesota Vikings regularly. I'm still waiting for my Minnesota Vikings to give me that championship ring. I hope they win the Super Bowl one time before I die. I hope so, I hope they would at least give me one championship to remember for. It would be the same feeling how like when the Red Sox finally won their first championship in almost 100 years, something like that. I don't even remember it, back in 2004. So I'm just going off of the tendon of that. But the point is, Vikings fans, including myself, been through a lot of heartbreak. 1998 was the first for me, but 2009, did it when Brett Favre threw the over-shoulder pass to Darren Sharper. You know what I mean? That killed it for me. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I certainly will think about doing some football commentary and giving some different things about it though too. I just need time of how I can approach it though. So, but definitely, I will consider thinking about doing the NBA Finals commentary. But I work 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Wednesday, so I sometimes will do my best to try to stay awake as best as I could. So, certainly will think about it and how to approach it though. But if I don't, but here's the thing though with me. If I don't think about it too much, then it appears that I do my best work when I don't think about it too much. And maybe that's something I'll probably think about too. But we'll see when that comes. Now, what was I going to talk about too? Oh, yes. I want to go through number 7 and number 8 on my greatest second round series of all time. Hang on one second. I got to take care of this one quick phone call real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I'm back. E-File player asked me, do you watch college basketball? Absolutely. Always watch college basketball. In fact, I did some video commentary on the Final Four in Minneapolis last month too. It was a great experience. Loved every single minute of it, and I was there in the national championship game. Greatest thrill, bro. Got seats close to the basket and watched the live action though. And I was actually sitting on the Texas Tech bench. You know what I'm saying? And they were heartbroken when they that last controversial call went down. And they was talking a lot of junk after the game, saying that the referees gave you the championship and all that. Man, they were greasy after that. So now let me get to the greatest second round series of all time. So I got at number 8, I got the San Antonio Spurs versus the Portland Trail Blazers back in 1990. Now, I know I was not born during that time. You know what I mean? I was born 2 years later in 1992, but I watched that full series from start to finish on YouTube on my most off days. And I'll tell you though, it was actually a really exciting series to say the least. I guess with the San Antonio Spurs, they had the greatest regular season turnaround when Larry Brown became coach and when David Robinson finally was able to play in the NBA after serving his Naval Academy of Commitment. And I'll tell you this, though. The San Antonio Spurs gave the Portland Trailblazers run for their money. Now, the Portland Trailblazers during that time, they had Jerome Kersey, Clyde Drexler, Buck Williams, Clifford Robinson, Terry Porter, Kevin Duckworth, and they recently added Danny Ainge and also had a Drazen Petrovic on their bench. That series, though, really, when you look on that on paper, though, it should have been, the Blazers in 6 games. But the Spurs really gave the Blazers a run for their money, including one game that went into double overtime and also that game 7 that went down to the final minute. And if Rod Strickland doesn't commit that turnover in the final minute, I think the Spurs may have had a good chance to pull it out and maybe, get to a finals. Who knows? Who knows what it is? I'm just going off on a tendon, though. But I think that series really was the beginning point for the Spurs to climb into getting to that championship. Now, before then, the San Antonio Spurs were a team that was basically a soft finesse team until David Robinson came through. And for the Portland Trailblazers, other than not drafting Michael Jordan, which they drafted Sam Bowie, in which he got injured frequently, the Portland Trailblazers were actually pretty good at assembling talent and putting on good winning teams. Unfortunately, they just didn't have the lucky breaks, though. But yeah, that series in 1990, though, bro, it was a really good series. And actually, it emerged the San Antonio Spurs as like a really good Western Conference team. Unfortunately, it took them almost in the entire 90s until 99 when Tim Duncan and company, off the second year, helped lead the Spurs to their first of many championship teams to come in the early 2000s. But that was the first series. That was the first indication of the rival, the San Antonio Spurs, and also started the early run of the early 90s for the Portland Trailblazers of making 2 final trips in 3 years. But they ran into great teams like the Bad Boy Pistons, who beat them 3 straight in the Portland Coliseum, and then the Chicago Bulls back in 92, in which Jordan outplayed Drexler throughout that whole series. So that's number 8. At let's see, at number 7. At number 7, I got the Dallas Mavericks and the San Antonio Spurs at 2006 series. That series, that was a funky series. I'm going to tell you why. The Dallas Mavericks had 60 regular season victories. It should have been either the top seed or the second seed. But because there was some seeding problems that they had at the time in 2006, they were stuck as the 4th seed with no home court advantage. You know what I'm saying? It was a really close series from start to finish because the Spurs came in as defending champions. They won the title a year prior over the Detroit Pistons and came in there with expectations to repeat as champions. But the Dallas Mavericks, when they were healthy, when they had Dirk Nowitzki, a healthy Josh Howard, Jerry Stackhouse, Jason Terry, Eric Dampier, really gave the Spurs a run for the money. And in that Game 7, Dirk Nowitzki played basically the best game of his life up until that 2011 season. You know what I'm saying? Let me look back at that stat total of that Game 7 there too. It was a bit more high on the list, but I think there's probably better series. There's better series up to that one. That one, the Mavericks won that game, and Dirk Nowitzki played magnificent. He had 37 points. He only missed 1 foul shot. He was 15 to 16, 11 for 20. Jason Terry, unbelievable. He had 27 points in that game. But other than Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker, though, bro, the Spurs really got any help from that game, though. And Tim Duncan missed some critical free throws down the stretch. He was only 17 for 23, not too bad, but again, he missed critical free throws down the stretch that basically ended out the ball game. And unfortunately, I would have loved to see a rematch if it wasn't for the Warriors who upset them the next year. It would have been a great Western Conference Finals rematch, but it was never meant to be. But that was that series that really was an exciting game between 2 excellent teams, 2 of the greatest power forwards in the game, between Dirk Nowitzki and Tim Duncan. It doesn't get any bigger than that. A prime Tim Duncan versus a prime Dirk Nowitzki, unbelievable. I will still watch it to this day. No doubt about it. Okay, guys. So that'll do it for me. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I want to thank everybody in the chat for your support and all the engagement that you guys been giving me. Man, I will most certainly think about, doing some live commentary of the NBA Finals, though, bro. I'll see what I can do with it, though. We had 14 dislikes. And oh, look at that. Only 1 dislike. Yippee. Love it. So, hey, and at least I'm trying to, at least are giving me some attention, though. Appreciate it. So, thanks y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for giving me all that support and all that engagement, though, guys. Keep smash the like button on the way out. And also, guys with the wrenches, spread the word out about my channel, though, bro. More subscribers, the better. And let's keep the engagement together. And if you want me to do any of a roundtable live streams, though, bro, I will most certainly do that. I'll try to most likely do it during the weekends. Try to reach out to some LDBC brothers who are willing to go in there and chop it up. Any about playoffs, boxing, whatever y'all want. So, this is Abil Mehari, representing MehariNation Sports Podcast. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to the greater Lions Den basketball and boxing community. And we did our job. And I'll see you all tomorrow night. Have a good night, everybody.